Of two teenage carjacking suspects in the district has gotten the attention of President Trump, who is threatening again to take over the city.
And that's because one of the victims is a former DOGE employee whose name was often in the headlines as many federal employees were being let go. Our Washington, D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley joining us live from the D.C. Bureau. So, Felicia, you spoke to people on both sides of the law on what this means and what this could look like.
I spoke to multiple people who either were or are responsible for safety here on D.C. streets. Now, there are two sides. Some aren't even batting an eye at the president's recent threats. Others say they feel people are not taking this seriously enough. And I spoke to multiple former MPD officers, and I also spoke to a trial attorney who had a lot to say about the president's recent threats. They say that people should stay aware because federal involvement could lead to laws being enforced. There's more severe laws being enforced and also in a more intense way. Now, I spoke to 24-year MPD vet Ronald Hampton and a trial attorney, Timothy Maloney, about the president's most recent takeover threats. If the president is saying what he's seeing here in D.C. as it relates to crime is not enough when it comes to tackling it, from your experience within MPD, what is needed or what can be done, whether it's from the administration or from federal government, to continue bringing down the crime?
I would like to see our local leaders use a little bit more imagination and vision when it comes to the kind of quote-unquote crime prevention programs. For example, the mayor of Baltimore has implemented several programs and things that we used to do years ago. The schools are staying open late in Baltimore. The rec centers are staying open late.
I think it's a lot of chest beating on the part of the president, but the fact is that there are things the president can do to put pressure on the local government, such as taking over the police department or pressuring Congress to nullify some laws. For instance, Congress nullified the D.C. criminal code revision a few years ago. So the federal government is not without power. And the reason is that the District of Columbia is a federally created district. It's been that way since 1789.
The Office of the Attorney General prosecutes juvenile crimes and said in part today that when MPD brings us cases with sufficient evidence of juveniles who have broken the law and hurt people, we will prosecute them and ensure they face consequences for their actions. Now, the OAG's full statement will be attached to this web story on WJLA.com. MPD did say they arrested two 15-year-olds from Maryland in this attack, and they say they're looking for additional suspects. But for now, reporting live from the D.C. Bureau, Felicia Ashley, 7 News.
All right, thank you, Felicia. Let's dig deeper into those numbers regarding crime in the district. According to MPD, there have been 99 homicides in the district so far this year. It's actually down 12% from this point a year ago. Assaults with a dangerous weapon are also down, dropping 20% from 652 cases last year to 524 so far. In fact, according to their numbers, violent crime has dropped 26% compared to last year. And property crime has also shown a 5% decline. That number tracks burglaries, thefts, and arson. Taking it a step further here, here's a chart that shows as of 2024, violent crime is at a 15-year low in the district. This is according to dccrimecards.dc.gov. Now, the red line on your screen is violent crime, and the blue line is total crime. The numbers are only calculated after the year's end, but as we just showed you, this year's numbers are currently on track to be even lower. Michelle?
Now, if you're keeping track, this is not the first time President Trump has threatened to take over the district. Back in February, he said the federal government should take over governance of the city. However, that's easier said than done because of the 1973 Home Rule Act, which allows D.C. residents to elect its own government. In recent months, both House and Senate Republicans have introduced bills to repeal the law. But the bill would require 60 votes in the Senate, meaning it would require support from some Democrats. Now, today I spoke with a legal expert who says even without a repeal, President Trump does have some power over D.C. Listen.
He can federalize the National Guard. He can take over the Metropolitan Police Department in an emergency situation. He already controls federal prosecutions through the United States Attorney's Office. But to do more, he would have to have Congress act.
Now I've posted a link on my X account at Michelle7News to learn more about what the Home Rule Act means for the city and the powers it grants Congress and the president. You can also find that link on our website, WJLA.com. And today we are also asking you to weigh in on this topic. Do you feel safe in D.C.? To answer, all you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen, and currently 36% say yes and 64 say no. So keep voting. We'll update this number throughout the evening.